If everyone would get comfortable, both feet on the floor, nothing crossed. Close your eyes, take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. And one more breath.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Beautiful. My pleasure. First time I've done that in a long time. Felt so good.
All right, Paula.
Okay.
Thank you.
Those of you who came late, Sharon is ill and was on her way to the hospital yesterday when I spoke to her, so she asked me to jump in. And since we had a few weeks ago mentioned the four agreements, I thought we could start with the first agreement. Don Miguel Ruiz is the one who wrote it. He is a Nagual from the lineage of the Eagle Knight. These are the Toltec teachings that have been passed down from generation to generations quietly so that they wouldn't be misused. And one of the stories in the book is about a man who lived in a city and wanted to become a medicine man. And he felt there must be something more to life. So he went discovering. Something transformed him, and he became knowing and heard his voice say, I am the light I have made of the stars. And through his journeys, he decided that he was not only a light, he was love, and he would be a smoky mirror for people to see themselves, as Robert Burns would say, as others see us. In that we are all alike, and that what we don't like in others is something we probably don't like in ourselves. And I just happen to have these medicine sacred path cards. Whoops. And one of them is the Great Smoking Mirror. And again, it's a teaching of the Mayans, but also the Cheyenne and the Pawnee. And the Mayans say, I am another one of yourself. So the Great Smoking Mirror reflects the lessons of leaving myth behind. You are what you decide you are. Remove the smoke screen that hides your natural talents or worth and stand tall. Recognize the areas to develop further and begin that process. Stop cowering before your potential and live in your truth. Another level, you're being asked to be a good reflection for others. Encourage others to be bold through walking your own talk. And most of us can talk the talk, but do we always walk the walk? The reflections you see may not make you happy if you're doubting yourself. Jealousy on any level only inhibits growth and wastes energy. Shatter the mirror that insists on self-importance, gloom, or failure so you can get down to what's really important. On all levels, the smoking mirror, asks us to accept light and shadow as equal. The reflections we dislike can be worthy opponents who teach us to grow into our potential. So when you don't like what you see, look at it and see if it's really there as a lesson. Even our shadow side serves us by leading us through trial and error to the true image of self. And that's Native American philosophy. So in his book, he says, first, what does impeccability mean? You know, be impeccable with your word is the first agreement. And the word peccatus is Latin, which means sin, which I never knew, and I used to speak Latin. So im is without, so impeccable means without sin. And what religions consider sin and what spiritualists call sin is a different thing. Any sin is anything you do to hurt yourself, not necessarily to hurt God or others. It's an injury to yourself that, whether you're aware of it or not, goes against who you really are. And how many of us live our lives not knowing who we really are because we listen to people's criticism all our lives. When you're impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you don't blame or judge yourself. We are all taught to blame and judge ourselves. Our parents punished us when we did something they weren't happy with. Didn't necessarily mean it wasn't right. It's just they weren't happy with it. So we were taught to reject ourselves because everybody wants to put you in a pigeonhole from the day you're born. And I actually almost got tossed out of Catholic school for asking the question, do I really have a free will, Father? And he said, yes, my child, you do. I said, then why has the church and everybody else been trying to take it away from me since I was born? Oh my God, what a furor that caused. I thought the priest was going to have a stroke. The nun dragged me by the hair up to the principal, who called my mother. And my mother said, well, did he answer her?
Yeah.
Which was my mother. Nobody messed with my mother. Which he never did. He never did answer me. So we're taught self-rejection. We're taught self-criticism, judgment. And then we flow over that and start judging others the way we were taught to judge ourselves. So self-rejection is the biggest sin that you commit. In religious terms, it's a mortal sin, which leads to death. Impeccability, on the other hand, leads to life. So if we can be impeccable with our word, it's not using it against ourselves. It's not using our word against other people. And people don't realize how they can hurt you sometimes with just one word. There's a story in here about a mother who came home with a really bad headache, and her daughter was happy about something, her little girl, and she was singing and jumping all over the place. And the mother screamed at her and said, your voice is ugly. Shut up. The child heard that and never sang again, even when she was asked. There we go.
Yay.
Okay, we're back.
Your words were impeccable.
Take two.
Yeah, I'm really without sin. Okay. So if I see you in the street and I call you stupid, it seems like I'm using my word against you. But really, I'm using it against me because that's the hate in me for myself that is reflecting back. And Bobby, you know the psychological term for that? Projection, is that it? I'm projecting onto you what I feel about me. And that is not being impeccable with your word. So even though I'm sending the word to you, it hurts me. And I just, most of the time, don't know it because that's what we were taught. We were taught to criticize others. We were taught to send that poison, as he says, out to other people, because God forbid we should feel it in us. So according to the first agreement, being impeccable with your word is the correct use of our energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you make an agreement with yourself to be impeccable with your word, just with that intention, truth will manifest through you and clean the emotional poison that exists within you. And I think that's one of the most important statements in this book. Just the intention of making your word impeccable will help you speak the truth, speak your truth, the truth, and clean out all that poison. Because most of us, if you've lived past 30, you've got poison from every direction, from jealous friends, from judgmental families, from learning to lie. And as I said to Nikki earlier, making my word impeccable was really tough for me because according to in my book, you will find the chapter on how I became an exquisite liar as I was growing up. First of all, I had some good examples, but second of all, I lied to protect myself, to keep myself out of trouble, I thought. So learning, I'm still learning to make my word impeccable, because I don't need that poison in my system. I don't need that poison in my soul anymore. And I realize when I spew vehemently against somebody else, there's something else going on back here in my file cabinet back here that is either a repetition of something that's been done or said to me, or a poison that I'm hanging on to and need to throw out. But I need to learn to throw it out so that the universe can absorb it instead of another human being. On the other hand, if your word is impeccable and you've learned to be love, you will be love and light to everyone who sees you, and you will get love in return. I saw this a few weeks ago when I was at Spiritualist Church. A young man was at the service, and I was giving readings, and his light was so beautiful that I could literally see a beacon of light coming out of his heart and surrounding everyone around him. The young man had no clue. This is just who he was. And so I told him in my reading, and he came to me in the coffee hour, and he said, I never knew I could do that. I said, well, you have permission now, go give it freely and give it purposely. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to go out and practice that. Thank you. It's like, if you don't know, I mean, it's lovely if you don't know and you could still project light and love. But if you don't know and there's somebody around who can remind you. And Sally, remember when we became crones, we were given a lantern so that we
I
could
still have mine.
I do too. We were given lanterns so that we could be a light and a beacon of light in the world. And that was part of our croning ceremony, which is anybody over 57 can be croned. And we made a big, and Laura was there. I think, yeah, you were there. We made a big deal in our women's circle about the rite of passage becoming a crone, because to us, a crone is not a bad thing. A crone is wisdom. She's the wise woman. Unfortunately, other people call her a witch and evil, and she's not. She's your mother wisdom that you've earned all your life. Excuse me. So many of us use the word to spread our personal poison, to express anger, jealousy, envy, or hate. And he says the word is pure magic. It's the most powerful gift we have as humans, and we often use it against ourselves. We plan revenge, we plan and create chaos. We use the word to create hate between different races, between different people, between families, between nations. And we misuse the word so often. This is how we perpetuate what he calls the dream of hell. It's how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt. Because the word is magic that humans possess, and the misuse of the word is black magic. We're using black magic all the time without realizing it. And he gives an example of Hitler, how he used the word to create worldwide chaos and war because people believed the fear-mongering that he spoke and really felt that the Jews were evil, although some of the Catholics got punished for that one too. I had a client once who was German, from Germany, and when she was young, she went to hear one of his speeches, and she said, oh, while he was talking, he was incredible. You were enthralled. Everything was wonderful. He was right. We were going to do this. She said, but when I walked away, I didn't remember a word he said. Unfortunately, that was his gift. He could rile people up with his word and create hate and chaos and nearly destroyed the entire world through it before all of us caught up with him. So watch out for your words, create them carefully, and remember, when you point a finger there, there's 3 more looking back at you. So whenever you're angry or want to send evil to somebody else, realize that you are sending it back to yourself, and you will pay a price. You may not want to pay that price, but you will. And the price is hell. And I've always said there is no hell. It's here. We create it. And I still believe that. Unfortunately, those spells we hear all our lives, and that's his words, not mine, are hard to break. It's hard to change the belief that my sisters are beautiful and I'm not. I pulled that one on one of my nun friends, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I believe it starts from the youngest one and goes up." Did I believe that? No. My sisters are beautiful. I am too. We're all who we are. But that belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not wealthy enough, permeated from my parents. We're not, what do you think we are? Made of money? How many of you heard that when you were growing up? Anytime we would ask for anything, that was the answer we got from my father. What do you think we are? Made of money? No, we have to scrimp and save. Well, we really didn't, but he made us believe that we did. We were upper middle class. We weren't poor. I know that now, but I didn't when I was a kid, Again, when you're a child, you believe adults are always right, which is why they can wreak havoc with us in many cases. Once you realize that adults aren't always right, and it's usually by the time you're an adult, you have to start looking at yourself and saying, how many of those lies, enchantments, spells do I put on others because I still believe what's not true? In my book, I told my truth. Someone said to me the other night, "I read your book. It was kind of tough." I said, "You think that was easy to write?" No, it wasn't. But it was my truth, and it had to be told. And you know what? I don't care whether my family liked the results or not. It was my truth, and it had to be told. So it's difficult to be the one that tries to change things in a family, especially if you come from a large family. But no matter what size family you come from, if you're the one that tries to make people understand things in a different way, they think you're weird. As my sister Karen said, when I started doing my psychic stuff, we all thought she was over the edge. And now that she's more psychic than I am, she said, and we're right over the edge with her now. So they've all come to it. Every one of them, except my brother, has some kind of ability. Of course, he probably does too, but he won't admit it because he's a good Catholic boy. So look at how impeccable your word is every day. Try to stay conscious when you get angry with someone or a situation and start sending your little curses out, or when you start judging someone for what they look like. I did that to my husband. When I first met my husband, oh my God, I saw this long-haired, long-bearded hippie in army green pants, red suspenders, and a hat. And I went, oh my God, what have I done? Fortunately for me, I had an angel standing by who gave me a terrific dope slap and said, "Do you like being judged for what you look like?" I went, "No." "Then shut up and go talk to the man." Because he didn't know what I looked like. I didn't know what he looked like, but I guessed. He still has long hair. He still has a beard. And I love him more than anybody on the face of the earth because it's not what he looks like. It's what his heart. And Shirley and Sally and Laura have all met him. And you know, he still looks like a hippie. I don't care. But I remember being at a play once and seeing a man that was drop dead gorgeous. And I said to my best friend, just once in my life, I would love to be with a man that every woman envies me for having in my life. Matthew is that man. There's something about his personality, his voice, that people are attracted to him. Wherever he goes, he's got a bevy of women hovering around him. We used to call him his harem when we were at the a yacht club. He's not handsome. He's not drop dead gorgeous, but there's something about his spirit that attracts people, and people want to be near him. It's his energy. It's his light. So I got my wish after all. And I'm very fortunate. So again, being without sin, as he says, I'm sure the church wouldn't agree with that 100%. But if your word is impeccable, you'll be a lot happier. Your life will be better. There's no reason you can't have abundance if you truly believe you deserve abundance and a good life. And since I truly believe that, yeah, I live in a trailer. I'm on Medicaid, but I got the best life I have ever had. It's even better than I was working. So you never know where that blessing is going to come from until you start giving that blessing to yourself. Comments, questions, giggles, laughs, judgments?
Love it. I love it. Thank you. I was looking for my book. I only found this one, The Fifth Agreement. I didn't,
Oh,
as a shadow work facilitator, that, we people, when they come to a workshop, they always, what is shadow? Well, something you hide, repress, and deny. How do you know if it's in shadow? Well, you see someone and you don't like them, then there's something in you that you're projecting to them. Or you make this really, really strong decision that you're never going to be like this or that, and you find yourself being like that on occasion. And there was one more characteristic that I don't recall, but I just really appreciate that it all starts with self-responsibility. What's going on inside of me that maybe I don't want to be with. So I throw it out there at you. And this idea, I'm a writer. Paul, I love, while you were talking about sin, I just looked it up, and it isn't how it's been used against us. It's got a beautiful origin. And it's all about, what it says here is the etymology of sin is true, genuine, real, just, righteous. Who the heck knew that? So anyway, I'm all inspired by that. I grew up Catholic too, and I have really taken what has blessed me and left what has not. So but I'm excited to have a whole new way of looking at sin. And I have been able to stop judging others before I've been able to not judge myself. And I've been taking responsibility for my thoughts, really tracking them. And it's been very painful and transformational. Sorry, we've got some work here in our house from all the storms. Thank you so much. I'm really inspired, Paula. Thank you.
thank you. That was great. Anybody else?
Charlie, this is Shirley. Do you remember when you and I used to do a word of the day from somebody would pick it, and every Tuesday, a long time ago, we would have a meeting and letting everybody speak what they felt about themselves. And we listened, and they finally found that piece of them through really honoring the fact of who they were.
Yeah,
Oftentimes we take that and we say, who the hell do you think you are? Or, oh my God, you're so stupid. You said this and that. And then after you look in the mirror and you said, why did you say those things? You know? But I think that that's something we learned from childhood, as you said, Laura. We learned a lot of that stuff from childhood. And those are the things that we try not to give our children, giving them the opportunity just to be who they are. And I've been very fortunate with my family. So I just wanted to just say to Charlie, do you remember that time that when we first started and we used to every Tuesday? So
Yeah, Shirley, thank you for bringing that up, because you have brought a lot of inspiration to the ministry, just because you've been impeccably sharing from your heart. And that's a beautiful example of light and love. And you've always been very good at listening to people and not being judgmental. And I think, for me, the ministry, our greatest contribution is to encourage people. I mean, our ceremonies are all about helping people to achieve something that's dormant within them, that's hungering to come out. And I don't think we should ever lose sight of that. That's so important, because that's the impeccable part of a person's soul, to bring out that talent that's within them. And there's fear blocking that. And so our ceremonies, with all the love that we share with that person and all the encouragement and whatever we go through the process, helps them be who they truly are. And that, I think, is the main mission of the ministry. And Paula, I think you say it so well and so simply, and so the ordinary person down the street can get it. It's come from your own truth and what you've learned, and the aspirations that speaks through you speaks to all of us. So thank you. And the one thing I'd like to add to today, since it's Father's Day, we think of I always think of a triune God, Father, Mother, Son, whatever, or you can call it, what I like to call the Father is the divine principle. That means that the purity of God is expressing its life, and it's whatever it wants to create goes into the womb of the divine mother. And out of that, creation comes about. So it's divine mother and divine father working in concert to bring something into expression. And that expression, or that creation that we see or hear or feel or touch or taste, is the third aspect of the triune God. So you have a principle that's pure, holy, and creative, and it goes into a divine medium, which we call the divine mother, and out of that womb, pardon me, I just was getting a telephone. Out of the creative womb comes creation. And what happens in creation is just what you're talking about, Paula. We as humanoids or human beings make miscreations. We miss the mark, and that's what the sin is all about. We're not living the purity of our soul. But we have the opportunity to attain that. And it's through the whatever it takes to get us to understand that divine spark within us is our essential divinity. It is what we truly are. And when we're fully aligned with it, then I guess we call it nirvana or enlightenment or are the Christ. And so we're living examples of going through that and trying to, we struggle sometimes difficultly. It's hard for me to hear impeccably. But I found a way. I got to my big computer, and I guess it has a higher volume level. And I'm very appreciative that I found a way to hear what the conversation is. I really want to thank each of you from the bottom of my heart from continuing this ministry of ours to aid people and encourage people in their spiritual development. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Nikki and I were talking about this pre-opening. We're a small ministry, but we're a powerful ministry. We have no idea, or maybe some of us do, how many lives we touch through our prayer list. Whenever I give Reiki or any kind of energy work to anyone, I always remind them that I am from this ministry and that my ministry is more than willing to help anyone with their healing needs. And so by doing that, I touch that person, but I touch the family. And so as a ministry, we may not grow in numbers or money. Money would be nice, universe. Thank you very much. But I think what we do spread into the world is a lot of love, a lot of caring, a lot of concern for what's going on in our fellow men and women and children. And our prayers are very powerful, or the energy that we send out, because we are all energy. We all know that. Sometimes you just don't understand how much energy you really have to give until you start giving it. So never be afraid to give it, whether it's through words or a thought or a blessing, whatever you have to give. All of you give from your heart. I have seen that over the years in this ministry. We all give from our hearts. None of us are perfect. We don't really need to be, I don't think, to give love and inspire others. I think eventually our ministry is growing slowly, but I don't think I'd want it to explode. I think it would be too overwhelming for us, and we would maybe be a little afraid and start to shut down. I don't ever want to see the people in this ministry shut down the love they send out into the world, because you guys are magnificent. Everyone I have put on the prayer list has felt your prayers, has been aided, whether in their transition or their healing. It doesn't matter. Your energy went where it was needed and it was appreciated. But we don't always get that information back because either we don't ask or we just figure, well, I sent it out there, it's doing its job. And it's doing its job. But you sent it, your heart and spirit sent it to those people who need help, wherever they are in the world. And even our prayer for, you know, what's going on in the Ukraine, our prayer for sick children, those energy work, that energy work goes out and it does its job because of all of you. So the more impeccable we are with our word, the more of that loving energy we can send out. But just remember, whatever you give, you also receive. So it bounces back and in its own way will help each one of us have a better life, whatever that means for us. If it means a better job, better home. For me, it's being able to go out to dinner once a month. That's I'm easy to please. Although Matthew probably wouldn't agree with that. But anyway, so don't ever stop the love that you send. It really does work. It really does mean something to people, even if they don't know you. They know that there are 15 or 20 people sending them the best energy they can send them to help them with their healing. And they can feel it. I worked on a man just this week, and he said, I don't know where you came from, Paula, but boy, could I feel that. And this is the best day I've had in a week. And what I do is I don't just give my energy, I bring all of your energy with me because we are a unit, we are a ministry. And that love belongs to all of us to share. So just remember, when you're sending your good stuff out there, you're not alone. You're sending 15 or 20 other people's massive wonder out to those people. And slam, bam, wham, thank you. It's wonderful. So keep it up. So much of my soapbox. Anybody got anything else to say?
Yeah, I love what you said, Paula. And I wanted to add that you can't outgive God, and God dwells right inside all of us. But in the human experience, some of us tend to burn out. And it gets back to what you originally were talking about. You have to love yourself as well. So you don't burn yourself out in your service. You find a way to balance all that.
Excellent.
When I
Very-
first
Go ahead.
when I first joined, when I first found our ministry, I was coming from a place where Western religion had let me down. It was Western religions, by and large, work on the premise of separation from the divine, separation us from God, whatever you choose to call that, us from the divine, from that and that universal energy. And the Madonna interfaith community, which was originally the Madonna ministry, was a path to rediscover that unity with the universal energy and that love and that all of that divine purpose. And I finally found a home. I found that this ministry uplifts us, encourages us. It's a positive influence in our lives every day, all day long, day and night. It bolsters us up and gives us what we need to send that love and light out into the world around us. Through every person we meet, everything we do, everything we say. And I am just so grateful to have found it. And all of you, my life has been, talk about abundance. Oh my goodness. There's abundance and there's abundance. And I have abundance in my life because of all of you, because of this ministry, and because of what we've been able to achieve in the time that we've been in existence. And I just pray wholeheartedly that we continue and that we continue to grow as we're supposed to grow and spread that light and love throughout the world. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come on, I know somebody's got something in there they want to say.
Well, I'll start. This I read the four principles, whatever. That's been my life's work for 45 years. You know, fleeting thoughts as an 8-year-old turn out to hold you to account when you're 18. And I've been involved with 3 activism groups that were embodied all 4 of those principles, because in all cases, we had to overcome other people's words that were so deadly. Millions have died because of it. lack of caring, lack of whatever. And we had to, number one, love ourselves, and then learn to spread that love, and at the same time having to deal with all the disinformation that was abound, and each one had to be dealt with. And it's taken 45 years, and we were fairly successful in all three divisions. And this ministry empowers me. And I think, and I'm safe to say, it empowers all of us in one way or the other. And you're right when you say, your work includes all of us, that we give you empowerment. We all deal with internal resonance. And if you put 50 clocks in a room, 50 grandfather clocks, they will all start individually keeping time, but after a while, the entire room will merge into one swinging pendulum swing. And that's the way we all are. We resonate, we have the resonance, and we share it with each other. And those four principles, they should be a really strong guiding factor in all of our lives, because it empowers us to go further and spread the word. And you reach out and touch somebody, and they reach out and touch somebody. Our reach is unfathomable. And after all these years, I have a certain amount of peace. Quite a certain amount of peace. I have a lot of peace. And I think that peace, we always say it passes all understanding. And adhering to these four principles gives you that peace eventually.
Thank you, Kevin. That was great. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I just wanted to say, I loved what Sally said. I agree with everything she said. And I know I was baptized Methodist. I was confirmed Congregational. I went to a Presbyterian college. And when I was in college, a bunch of us, every Sunday, we would go to a different church. And I have to say that none of them drew me in. None of them really spoke to me until I found you guys. And I thank Sally and Paula for introducing me to this ministry. And it was the first time that I've ever really been drawn to a group that had the same thoughts and feelings that I do. And I'm really proud to be a member of this group, and I'm really proud to share my gifts with everybody. Thank you all for being you.
Thank you for being you.
Yes.
Thank you, Laura.
Dolly, do you have any thoughts? You're awful quiet over there.
You're
Unmute.
muted, Dolly. There we go.
No, I don't, not at the moment.
That's okay. You can continue to observe. We know you do that well.
Carrie,
let me
it's good,
unmute.
Oops.
Carrie, it's good to see you.
Yes, it's very good to see you.
Yeah, you're looking healthy
You look great.
and you're looking relaxed.
Thank you. I'm a month out from surgery 2 days ago and just really starting to feel that I have my energy back. Thank you.
Great.
Well, you look great.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask if you, any of you would like to refresh my memory on.
Too much. Dolly, can you mute yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay, Bobby, try and talk now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. I would like to have somebody refresh my memory because it's been a long time since I've read the book, The Four Agreements. What are the four agreements? I know the one about choose your words impeccably because we spoke about that. What are the other three?
I got them right here. Hang on.
Thanks.
Don't take things personally. I know that one because I
That's
take
my favorite one.
personally.
That's a good one, isn't it?
It is.
That should be our motto going forward.
Don't
Right.
make assumptions.
Yeah.
Don't make
One time-
assumptions. Right.
One time when we had our time in Arizona, I was sitting alone at a table waiting for someone. And this woman walks by to me and she said to me, "Don't ever let anyone rain on your parade." And then she walked away. But that stayed with me, and I became very good friends with her because she gave us a lot of her art. But she has just, I mean, it was just, don't ever will anyone rain on your parade. So let's think about that. When we feel that, oh my gosh, we can't get out of it. But whose parade is it at that time? Is it our parade or is it their parade? And sometimes we just have to say amen and just love them and love ourselves for who we are inside.
Right.
Carry our divine umbrella.
Yeah.
And
So
thing
the first one is be impeccable with your word. Second one is don't take anything personally. Third is don't make assumptions. And the fourth, which is my favorite, always do your best. So if that helps, Bobby.
Yeah, that's great.
And
when
it
you
doesn't
That
take,
does.
they
do
say
it
I love that.
when you assume, you're making an ass out of you and me.
Yes. And I do
Ask
that
you
quite
me.
regularly.
So,
Yeah. So, I figured we could do one of these a week if we don't have other speakers. Do we have anybody coming next week, Nick?
Next week is Terry's week. She's the fourth Sunday
Great.
of each month.
Okay, good. I probably won't be here because I'll be up in Maine, but we can plan if you don't have anybody for the next week, we can plan to do the second agreement if everybody's okay with that.
Okay. Sally, did we pick a day? Sally B? Which day did we pick for you?
I will have to look at my calendar because I like to be impeccable with my word. So if I make a commitment, I can,
Okay.
And you want to do your best.
I'll do my best. That's right. Not perfect, just my best.
Your best, right?
I'll let you know what I find.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Whenever we can fit him in, there are four of them.
Yeah.
Well, there's
I
three
think-
left.
I think at the moment, June 30th, that's the fifth Monday or fifth Sunday of the month, is open, so that we can maybe plug that in for
Okay.
agreement 2.
I should be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be back by then. So, okay, great. This is wonderful. Thank you all for contributing and for being who you are and for the love you send to each other. And have a blessed week, all of you. And may you be granted abundance in whatever you believe that is.
Yeah.
And my last
Thank
word,
you
my
for being
last,
the moderator.
My last
But-
word is I love dancing in the rain, Shirley. Dancing in the rain.
I believe it's singing in the rain, my dear.
I love
Whatever.
singing and
them
dancing.
Singing and dancing in the rain. Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks,
Well.
everybody.
Take care.
Love you all.
Bye
See you
bye.
next
See you next
week.
week.
Bye
See
bye.
you in 2 weeks.
For all.
Love you all.
Thank you, Polly.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.